What's up, you guys? All right, we're coming to you right post-class. Brandon was coaching.
Coming to you from the same place we've been coming to you the last 30 days.
I am sweaty. I have no makeup on. So we want to talk to you guys today about the number one tip to start moving, to get moving. What's the number one tip, babe?
Just start moving.
Just start moving.
Just start going.
You have to start.
Don't wait for the perfect plan. Don't wait for everything to line up, because I know for myself, when I've waited and like, for me, I've made the mistake, and I, find myself falling into the trap oftentimes of, it's got to have this perfect plan, right? It's got to be all, I got to be able to hit all the things I want to hit. I got to be able to do everything that's lined up for me. I got to be able to, I don't feel right. Like, I didn't get enough sleep. I didn't eat enough, right? Like, that's usually my big thing is I don't eat enough, right? And so I start telling myself, and I fall into the trap of the stories and everything else we've been talking about. But honestly, you guys, the key to anything, I don't care, obviously we're talking about movement this week, but the key to anything is just start. Is just simply start. And there's so much about being a business owner. About being a business owner, about being a coach, about being an athlete, that there's so many lessons that I can say that I've learned in life, and I've learned the hard way a lot of times, right? Like, I've fallen down, I got scrapes, I got scars, I got kicked, I got all these kind of things from that. But more often than not, it's just get going, right? Like, if you're waiting for the time when you feel like it's right, and you're waiting for the time for life to align for you, you're going to be sitting in your rocking chair, and you're going to be wondering what the hell you did with your life, and you're going to be kicking yourself in the ass, right? Like, that's just going to be inevitable, right? Like, every single person who's ever gone into an elderly or a senior living housing complex and kind of walked around and talked to the folks there, every story I've ever read of anyone that's ever done that, the biggest thing that they say is the person that gives them the advice is just do the things. Because when you look back on your life and you kick yourself in the butt for, like, I wish I would have, right? Like, we've talked about values. Like, my number one value my moving away from value is regret, right? And I think oftentimes that has caused me a lot of turmoil and caused me a lot of distress, undue distress, because I've probably held on to things longer than I probably should have. But at the same time, it's also gotten me on the same standpoint of, like, you know what, if I don't try this, if I don't just get moving, what's going to be the results of it?
Yeah, and I think there's so much to that. So, like, obviously in life, we're like, just go. Our mantra is commit first, figure it out later. If you guys don't know our story, we opened a gym together after knowing each other for 4 months. 4 months, you guys. That sounds ridiculous. But here we are 10 years later, right? Like, 10 years later, and here we are because we committed to it and then we figured it out, right? And so I've been talking to a lot of people that are like, God, I just don't feel good in this quarantine. I'm kind of over it. And
I don't feel motivated. I'm having trouble motivation.
And I think the biggest thing, and I was thinking about this today because I've been in this phase. And so I'll tell you guys my story of today. And, like, we're not immune to this, right?
No,
like, we are not.
And trust me, it's okay to have these feelings, okay? Like, we're not the people, and you can get on YouTube, you can get on Instagram, you can get on every other guru that makes you feel bad for, like, you being human and feeling like you shouldn't have feelings of just despair, possibly, of what's going on right now, right? Like, those are things that are all natural for us. But yet again, all these things we've been talking about to this point of what's your focus, what's your body language like, how's that correlating with your values, how's it correlating with your goals, how's it correlating with your modeling of the world, right? Like, all these things we've been talking about come into these things on just a full gambit of all the things we've been discussing.
You just totally stole my story. But all right.
Sorry.
Thanks, Nate. And we met you almost 10 years. Like, it was not long after we opened the gym that we met Mr. Nate. So anyway, you guys. So the biggest thing is, like, we all need a little help, right? We, like, none of us are just like, oh, this is amazing. I feel this is awesome. Like, I literally spent like 18 hours on Sunday trying to work through all of her financials and get them straight for the loans. Another like 8 hours today. And I just want to say that taxes were not due today. And this is the first time my taxes have actually been done. But I started working on them this morning, you guys, at like 6:15. So here's the story. Got up early. I got up at 3:30. My goal was to be downstairs, work out at 5. Thanks, Nate. Work out at 5. I legit went downstairs. I was listening to my ebook. I like loaded my barbell. I did some deadlifts. And I was like, I can't do this right now. And I was just like, my brain was going, right? Like, I did the thing I don't usually do and I got into work mode. Anyway, so whatever. Came up here, worked all day. We went on a walk and I was like, I don't have it in me. I, cashed it in. I'm not going to work out today, whatever. And I was just feeling bleh in my body, right? I've been sitting more. I just didn't feel good. And so I want to talk to you guys about this because I think sometimes, and I know that like we all go through those phases where we don't feel great in our body, right? Like we feel softer than we want to feel, or we just feel, we feel unmotivated. Like we feel like that. And I think it's a hard thing, like which came first, the chicken or the egg, right? Like you're not probably going to feel better until you start moving, but like you don't want to move because you don't feel good, right? And so the biggest thing that I want to tell you guys is that like you have to take action, right? In everything that we talk about, you have to be taking action, right? Like you can have the Ferrari, but if you're sitting in your driveway and you're in park, you're never going to get anywhere, right? And so sometimes it's that simple thing. And so tonight, like the workout I was going to do this morning is like our comp version of our workout, and that's what I normally follow, and our performance workout is totally different. But I was like, you know what, I'm going to go do that workout because Brandon was coaching, I could be with people, right? And so I went downstairs, I got it done, I feel a million times better, right? So like the biggest thing, you guys, is just start taking action. Don't come up with a long-term plan, don't think about tomorrow, like just go walk outside, right? Take 20 minutes and go move. Like as soon as you start moving your body, you will start feeling better. But if you just think about it and you contemplate it and you come up with the perfect plan and all the rules and all the things, you're never going to do it, right? So just start doing something. Like right now, do 20 jumping jacks, right? Like you have to start moving your body. But I want to say too, with somebody that's struggled with body image stuff and struggled with a lot of those things, is that I know when I don't feel good in my body, I don't want to move it because I don't like the way it feels when it's moving. But you have to start doing it, and you have to love yourself in the process, and you have to know that these are steps that are taking you towards a healthier, happier version of you. Not a skinnier version, not a leaner version, but like a healthier, happier version, okay? And you have to come from that intention. And when you start to shift that and you go, okay, I do love myself and I want to love myself, and I'm doing these because I love myself, not because I hate myself, not because I don't like my body, not because you want to be skinnier, right? Like when you can make that shift and take action, everything will change in your world. So that's just my we talk a lot about the diving deep and the uncovering things, but all of that, you have to take action. You have to take action to start peeling back the layers. You have to take action to start moving your body. You have to take action to shift your nourishment. Like you have to take action to understand yourself. In that action, you get to do all the things around it, but without action, none of this is ever going to actually stick for you.
Love it. Well, and with that, you guys, yet again, what we always start off with is start simple, start small. Right? Like start simple, start small. And I know I've made the mistake myself, right? Like for those that don't know, like 3.5 years ago, our building got bought. We got forced into rearranging and literally moving our entire gym. We went through a lot of different processes within that. And I mean, I own a gym. I've been working out since I was 13 years old. While we were going through that, I didn't work out for probably 6 months. Right? Like I didn't work out for 6 months. And so when I came back for that, not to mention all the other distress that I was putting on myself, like I wish I could explain to you how toxic my joints hurt. Like I wasn't doing anything other than construction work, but my joints hurt, my body hurt, my mind hurt, just everything hurt because of the toxicity that was going through that moment in time. And so my old mentality was like, okay, I'm done with that. We're all good. Now, once we're past that, I can just pick up the pieces where I left off, right? Like I could go from not training for 6 months and all of a sudden jump back in as if I was trying to compete to be the fittest man in the world again, right? Like the reality of that scenario didn't work out very well. Like I got into it and a week later I was burnt out. My ego was smashed. And all of a sudden I was hating what I was doing because I was living by standards of which that just weren't real for myself right then and there, right? Like I had to understand that moment in time isn't gone, but at the same time I have to do what's right for me right now. And so it's starting small, right? And I know we've talked about this before, but I will tell you 1,000% my saving grace over the last 10 years of when I get into these ruts, right? Like I love fitness. I love exercise. I love all the aspects of health and wellness, but I'm not immune to it, right? Like Courtney's still on, there's times of like, you need to go work out. You haven't worked out in like 5 days. Yesterday. Like you need to go do something because you're very snappy, right? Like you're irritable. You're way more temperamental. You need to go do something, right? Like I'm not immune to it but in every single case that I've done that, our class format has been my saving grace. Right? Like next month, we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary. And we'll both tell you, the reason why we opened the gym is because of the community, right? Like we've been coaches, we've been trainers and everything else for almost 20 years each. the thing we fell in love with the most was the community aspect, right? That we can, no matter what walk of life you come from, you understand by the second you show up that everyone understands that you're putting yourself out there, that no matter what your goal is, whether you're trying to be the fittest person in the world or just play with your kids, that you are still putting yourself in an uncomfortable scenario, but that uncomfortable scenario is going to lead you to become a better version of yourself. Right? And we can all appreciate that no matter what walk of life you're coming from. And understanding that there's other people there that just went through a day themselves, right? Like, if I didn't know Courtney spent the last 18 hours doing taxes, I wouldn't even know anything about it, right? I wouldn't know what my day was, but we all can show up and we can all thrive and strive together and make little itty bitty shifts to get ourselves moving. So if you are struggling with that, you guys, if you are having trouble with, your internal motivation and everything else, what I would suggest on there is start small, right? Like we've talked about this before of put on your tennis shoes. Put on your tennis shoes, walk outside, right? Like walk to your mailbox. If you walk to your mailbox, you might just walk a couple more steps further. If you walk to a couple more steps further, you might walk to the end of your block, right? And then if you walk in your house, that's probably more than what you would have done in the beginning. And if you can feel success, right? Like if you can feel success, and not based off of anyone else's definition, but if you can feel success for yourself of being able to move just that needle, that little bit, I promise you'll probably do the same thing for yourself tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think too, it's like, we talk about community, right? Like find a community. Obviously, our community is open right now to everyone online. Like you can do it. You can do it from anywhere. We have a new member that's doing it up in Boulder or Longmont. Where's he live? Longmont, and he literally has no equipment, so he uses his backpack, right? Like you can do this. Our community is open, and if you need that right now, just reach out. We've got you, right? But if that doesn't interest you, that's totally cool too. But like I hate the word accountability because like you can only be accountable to yourself, but find someone that's going to make it fun, right? Find someone that's going to be like, hey, did you do your thing today? Hey, did you, like, not somebody that's like, hey, Sally, you want to work out with me today? And then you're like, no, I didn't do it either. I didn't either, right? Because like we've seen this, we used to talk about this with our 6-week challengers of like, you get in cahoots. Am I like 90? I am 90 all of a sudden. So like, but you create a partnership with somebody else who also needs motivation, right? And then like one of you falls off and you sort of drag the other one back into the mud, right? So like find someone where it's going to be fun, where it's going to be light, where it's going to be easy, right? Right now with everything that's going on in the world is like, you don't need something that feels heavy, that feels daunting, that feels, you don't need anything else with that. You need something that feels expansive. So can you make it fun? Can you get in a competition with your kids? Like do something that you're actually going to want to do, right? Do something enjoyable. And if you feel totally lost too, you're like, well, maybe I don't want to do your classes, but I don't know what I can do in my living room. Like reach out. We literally have hundreds of workouts that use no equipment. We'll gladly give that to you guys. So if you want that, let us know. But like, this is just our encouragement. We're the 15th of the month. We know we have at least 15 more days. Well, at least we do for the gym. I think the actual, like, the shelter in place lifts on the 26th, supposedly. We'll see about that. But you have at least 15 days. So, like, you still have time to start moving. Like, I promise you guys, do this for 7 days. Do this for 14 days. You will feel 1,000,000% better. And we talk about this all the time, too. This is my tangent. But, like, it doesn't take 2 months. It doesn't take 6 months. It doesn't take a year to feel better, to start to feel better, right? To get to that long-term goal, yeah, that might take a year. But it only takes a couple days of moving, a couple days of, adding some vegetables into your nutrition, a couple days of drinking a little more water. You will feel better, right? It does not take massive amounts of time. So if you're like, I don't like the way I feel right now, get some sleep tonight, drink some water tomorrow, eat a vegetable, and go on a walk. Do that for a couple days, and I promise you will feel better, right? You will feel
Very
better
simple
by Saturday. So that's what we got for tonight. We love you guys. Anything else?
Good.
All right, gang. We gotta go feed our children. Hey, Randy. Hi, Tim. All right, guys. So we'll meet you tomorrow for episode 31. That means we've been doing this 31 days of quarantine, but we're gonna probably keep it going forever. So we appreciate you guys. Let us know what questions you have and what kind of support you need, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, y'all. Have a good night.